Hey everyone, it's Hallie. Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be showing off my mock that I did of this TIE Striker. The TIE Striker was first seen in Star Wars Rogue One, which, as I've said before in another video, is my personal favorite Star Wars movie. It just has a bunch of my favorite ships and my favorite characters. I just thought it was so different and so much more real and grittier and cool compared to most of the other Star Wars movies. And of course, this is the TIE Striker that we see on Scarif. The TIE Striker is designed primarily for atmospheric battles. So when in atmosphere, it is faster than a TIE fighter, and it also has a higher weapons capacity than a TIE fighter, a regular TIE fighter in general. And what really drew me in was just the sharp, sleek shape of the Striker, which is because it is designed to be much more aerodynamic because it is operating inside of a planet's atmosphere versus space, where there is, of course, no air. So the Striker definitely has a much different role and purpose than a regular TIE fighter. Basically, the gist of it is the Striker outperforms a regular TIE fighter when in atmosphere, and a regular TIE fighter would outperform the Striker in space. But let's go ahead and get into this Lego model. So I actually used pieces primarily from the latest TIE fighter set. I'll put a picture of it and the set number up here. But it's a really great set. I really like it. I already had 2 of them, and I want to get a whole lot more eventually because you can never have too many TIE fighters. I just want a whole army of TIE fighters flying around my room. I think it'd be really awesome. It's already awesome having a couple. I'm super happy with them. It's just a really great value for the price compared to TIE fighters in the past, which have been much more expensive. Anyway, I bought in a third one of those TIE fighter sets, but I had decided that I really wanted to turn it into something else because although it is a great set, the TIE Striker, for example, is pretty much my favorite TIE fighter, at least in canon. So I really wanted to have a go at making a mock of it, because the TIE Striker set that came from Lego, and because it came out in 2016, it's much more expensive than the most recent TIE fighter, which you can find on Amazon and some other websites for about $35. And I did use a decent bit of extra pieces, but not a huge amount. So I still think it was cheaper probably than buying just the ship off of Bricklink, the older TIE fighter that is. And I also got to have a fun experience of building my own mock. So let's go ahead and dive into it. First starting with the wings. And in this case they are actual wings and not solar panels or radiator panels such as in other TIE fighters. And they just have such a distinctive, sharp, pointy shape. The shape of the wings is of course very similar to what we see in the TIE Interceptor, but of course there is only one of them on each side, and they're arranged in a very different position than we see on the Interceptor. But I think I did a pretty good job at capturing the shape and proportions of the wings. I got them nicely framed out with gray tiles primarily, using some hinge plates to connect these and kind of frame the outside of the wing, which I think looks pretty good. And then I used a wedge plate just at the tip to kind of finish it off. And I also really tried to get some nice detail at these parts where they connect to the body, which I think looks good. And these bits right here do kind of move around, but if you don't touch them, they won't really move around too much, obviously. But the whole ship overall is sturdy, especially the main center body. It's very sturdy. There's just some fragile bits, like mainly the laser cannons down here can get knocked off, and these pieces that I was just showing you, and same with the ones on the bottom. Those bits are fragile, but everything else is pretty rock solid. So back looking at the wings again, the bottom of them looks pretty okay, I think. Definitely nowhere near as good as the top. But for the underside of Lego plates, I don't think it looks too bad. I did manage to get these same bits of wing structure reflected on the bottom, same with the top. And once again, there's some nice detail there, and I like the little use of this 45-degree 2x4 tile just to kind of close up that area. But I just use a lot of wedge plates, and then once again, it's framed by those hinge plates and tiles. Moving on to the center structure, we have that very distinctive kind of eyeball shape that pretty much all TIE fighters have, which this is just a perfect piece. Once again, it was the one used in that TIE fighter set, and I used the hatch from it as well. Ideally, I would have another one of these hatches in the back, because the Striker does actually have room for 2 people, a pilot and a bombardier/gunner, because the Striker does have proton bombs that it can drop, so it has the option of a bombardier for that, which I think is pretty interesting, that the Striker is much more well armed than a regular TIE fighter. It has dual light laser cannons, which are up here, and then dual heavy laser cannons right down there. And then I kind of portrayed this right here as where the proton bombs would come out, because that's roughly where it is in the real ship. But overall, I think I did a pretty decent job at portraying the rounded shape of the cockpit, especially with the pieces that I had on hand and available to me. In the back here, you can see I just used 2 little stickers to portray the actual ties, the twin ion engines, which isn't ideal, but I really like the use of this piece, and so I didn't want to like change the design because it gives such a nice rounded disc shape. I didn't want to change that, so I just put some stickers on it. Just kind of cheating, but I don't know. I'm not like the best builder ever, and I'm not claiming to be, so I kind of had to like cheat or just use a different method. I mean, like, I use the stickers, so like I can put a little sticker just right there, so yeah, it is what it is. And I'm happy with it turned out. Obviously those ties, the tie outlets back there, they don't look ideal, but they work and do the job. Once again, there's some nice detail on top, some greebling. And there are some hinges here which allow the wings to move just like the real ship. So basically all you do is just hinge that up just like so. And do the same on the other side. And I knocked a plate off. But they hinge up very easily, and they give you this look, which I think looks super awesome. In my opinion, I think this looks cooler than with the wings in the kind of downward position. I just think that it looks more aggressive and mean, and more intimidating and imposing. But here's a good look at some of the shaping around the sides. I use a lot of cheese slopes, the 1x1s, to just get the shape and the rounded feel of the Striker's body. And there's some nice pieces, a variety of them, used on the side to give just a little bit of texture, for the sake of texture basically, so that it's just not too boring. And I would say I used about 80% of the pieces from that TIE Fighter set that I primarily kind of started from to build this. So there's not too many pieces left over from that. So you could always try yourself to buy that set and then build some other sort of TIE fighter, a different version from it. I think that's a really fun challenge to do because the pieces are so versatile and you can make completely different TIE variants without too many extra pieces added on. Obviously adding in a little bit helps for sure. I probably added in a couple hundred pieces of my own, I would guess, if maybe, but not a huge amount. Coming back up to the cockpit here, the windshield does fold down, and unfortunately the top hatch doesn't fold up, but it is easy to just pop off, and then you can see some really nice detail in there, especially once I remove the figure. But there's some transparent red pieces along with a good bit of printed pieces just to show consoles and things like that. And then there is, of course, a flight yoke right there in the front using the bucket handle, which is like my favorite piece to use as a flight yoke. It's so funny to think of just a pilot in a ship just grabbing onto the handle of a bucket, but obviously it's not meant to be the handle of a bucket, it's meant to be the flight yoke, but it's just a funny thought. But I think it always captures that part of the ship really nicely. This is one of my favorite bits of this TIE fighter. I really like having a fleshed out interior with so many control panels and consoles and things like that. It's not necessary, but it does add a lot to it. And the figure is super easy to get in and out. There's a good bit of room for him. So I just go in like that, and you can clip this back in, fold this back up. Here's a closer look at the laser cannons. Once again, with the top two being the lighter laser cannons and the bottom two being the heavier ones. And I use a variety of pieces on the bottom just to switch it up and make it so that it's not too boring and flat. But that is most of the exterior and also the cockpit that I've showed you. But there is a little more interior space left to be seen. However, it's not very easy to access. So basically what you do is you pop off this back kind of dish section, which is just attached with a Technic pin. And then you just have to kind of pry your finger up under this plate, and then the whole top can pop off. It is really sturdy, but it does pop off fairly easily if you know where to pull it from. And then we have the gunner's position, which I just have a kind of AT-AT driver in there for whatever reason. But there are some nice panels just using some transparent pieces, red and yellow mostly. So you can imagine this being the gunner's heads-up display or view screen out the rear. And if we pull the gunner out, you can see some more transparent pieces just acting as consoles. And there's a nice little seat in there for him. But you just basically sit him in there, and you can pop this back wall on. And there is a little more detail inside of there, inside of the tie in the middle. These kind of tubes right here are meant to represent the proton bombs. And then there's just a little bit of other random detail in there just to kind of represent some of the internals of the ship, which is always just kind of fun to add and spice it up in there. Since you can pop this open and look at it, you might as well have that space utilized. And then I did put a light brick here to light up the cockpit. Oh my god, I just realized I put the TIE pilot in there backwards. That's extremely embarrassing. So let me fix that. Or wait, no, they're not backwards. Their helmet is backwards, so I literally fail at everything. That is kind of funny. Let me fix that and put them back in there the right way. Come on. Alright, there we go. But I figured it might as well have a little extra detail thrown into the middle of it. And the light brick is just so, I don't know, you can illuminate the cockpit just a little bit. And if you wedge a piece in there so that when you close it up, the light brick is still activated, it does give a little bit of a red glow from the cockpit, which I think is kind of cool and a neat touch to have. That's pretty much it for the interior, so I'll go ahead and pop the top back on and wrap it up. With everything back together, that is pretty much it for the TIE Striker, honestly. I really wanted to build a MOC out of this because the Striker is one of my favorite ships in Star Wars, and like I said earlier, it is pretty much my favorite TIE variant. Besides maybe the Phantom, but that is Legend, so it doesn't really count because it's not canon. But regardless, it's such an awesome ship, and I'm happy to have done what I think is a pretty decent job in LEGO form. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people out there who've done a significantly better job than me, and by no means do I claim to be the best builder out there, but I'm happy with it, so I guess that's what matters. And I hope you guys really enjoyed seeing this TIE Striker. And I hope you also decide to have a go at building your own MOC from that most recent TIE Fighter set if you ever do pick it up. I think it can be a fun challenge to try building some different TIE variants from it, and maybe I'll do more in the future. We will have to see. But that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if there's any different type of LEGO content you'd like to see from me, like maybe reviews or anything else that you might have in mind, and I'll be willing to try that. So thank you again for the third time. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to stick around for more videos in the future. I do still need to show off the interior of my base, my Imperial base. I've been meaning to do that, but life's been just kind of messy recently, so I haven't gotten around to it. I'm so sorry about the big gap between the last video. I will try and stick to doing a video every week, but no promises. Just with the kind of hectic state my life is in right now, it can be a little difficult to do that. But yeah, once again, leave a like and subscribe, and thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the views on my videos recently. It means so much to me, and it's unbelievable that that many people want to watch me talk about a chunk of plastic. But yeah, it really does mean a lot. So thank you guys. Once again, I'm Hallie. This is my TIE Striker, and I will see you all next time. Bye.